storied history. Thousands have been lucky enough to make it to the big leagues. But there is one list with some of its most enduring characters. With 39 All-Star appearances among them, along with handfuls of MVPs and World Series championships, only 5 of the game's most feared hitters grace this group. From today's best player to the cover boy of the first ever Sports Illustrated, the elegance of these men and the feats they have achieved are unmatched. With one more swing of the bat, Ryan Braun can join this seemingly impossible list. Can he hit career home run number 100 tonight? Find out next on Fox Sports Wisconsin. And the headliner story as we continue to watch an impressive run for Ryan Braun in just his 3rd season in the major leagues. A chance to get into that century club for home runs in his first 3 years. Braun and the Brewers take to the field ready for game 2 against the Pittsburgh Pirates tonight in front of a big crowd here at Miller Park. Former big league catcher John Russell in his 2nd year as the Pirates skipper puts this lineup out today. It's brought to you by Subway. Andrew McCutchen riding a 10-game hit streak. He leads off. Then it's Delwyn Young and Garrett Jones. Middle of the order is Andy LaRoche, Steve Pearson, Lastings Milledge, with Jason Jaramillo, Brian Bixler, and Kevin Hart rounding it out. Defensively for the Brewers tonight, it's Braun, Cameron, and Catalanotto in the outfield. The infield is Counsell, Escobar, Lopez, and Fielder, with a battery of Kendall and Gallardo. And ready for game's first pitch. McCutchen stands in, Gallardo deals a ball, and away we go here at Miller Park. As Tony Randazzo calling balls and strikes, Damian Beal, Rob Drake, and Jerry Lane on the bases. Jerry Lane, the crew chief tonight. Milwaukee winning last night by an 8-6 final score despite a big game from Andrew McCutchen. McCutchen had 3 hits and 5 at-bats. He drove in 4 runs and was a triple away from the cycle. A single, a double, and a homer last night. A little shaky start for Gallardo, falling behind 3 balls and no strikes quickly.
Yeah, pitch count issues have been there for Gallardo in his last handful of starts. Although he has thrown well. Got to win his last time out. Who was finally getting some runs for Gallardo, a 6-run inning, and he was a winner against the Nationals.
Gallardo with 179 strikeouts, 3rd highest number in the National League. And he's 4th in the league in opponents' batting average. You don't get much against Gallardo typically. Opponents only batting .213 off Giovanni this year. And McCutchen sends one deep to center field. Cameron racing back, cannot get it. That is going to be an extra base hit, a double off the wall for Andrew McCutchen. And this one starts with a bang for the Pirates. And McCutchen now with an 11-game hitting streak.
Yeah, fastball right down the middle. Yo did not want to walk him, so he threw him a fastball. 3 consecutive heaters. That one's splitting home plate in half. And McCutchen gives that one a pretty good ride. This kid can swing the bat. He's got good pop. Ball jumps off his bat. Ball had a little bit of a slice on it, and full Cameron in center wouldn't have been able to get there anyway.
Well, McCutchen, a hot hitter. And he's aboard to start it for the Pirates. Delwyn Young batting in the 2-hole for Pittsburgh, switch hitting second baseman. And a .302 hitter this season. He's had a nice year for Pittsburgh. And like he always does, he's up there to hack. A lot of these Pittsburgh batters, they're up there to swing the bat early and often.
Hey, you got to have good command of your fastball. You can't throw them down the middle early in the count. These guys are going to be all over it. And pretty good power. They've shown pretty good power against the Brewers.
There's a strike. Outside corner. No balls, 2 strikes. See the numbers for Gallardo. He makes his 27th start of the year. Has 1 complete game. That's the only complete game the Brewers have turned in this year. Giovanni making his 4th start of the season against Pittsburgh. Right on the corner. Down goes Delwyn Young. Well, we had a chance to catch up with Chris Bosio, Brewer pitching coach. We asked him for his scouting report, brought to you by Piggly Wiggly on Giovanni Gallardo.
Yo's a gamer, and he'll do anything he has to win, like everybody on the team. And obviously, the pitch count, we'd love to have it, down and more manageable. I mean, ideally, 7 innings, 90 pitches would be nice. But sometimes the ball doesn't bounce that way. Sometimes you don't get the calls, and sometimes you dig your own hole.
And a lot of the pitch count issues for Yo has, come from the curveball. He's having a tough time throwing it for strikes. And that put-away pitch, that curveball, has been either hot or cold for him any given start. Sometimes he has it, sometimes he doesn't.
Here's Garrett Jones, another talented rookie in this Pittsburgh lineup. He and McCutchen both among the Rookie of the Year candidates. Jones leads all rookies in the National League with 15 home runs. And he's driven in 30. He's only been in the big league since July 1st. He's done a lot of damage in a very short amount of time. This is just his 49th game of the season.
And 15 home runs and 194 at bats. That's tremendous. Tremendous power, particularly where he plays. In PNC Park, not a home run hitter's ballpark, not normally. Hits the ball all over the diamond. Doesn't have to pull it to hit it out of the ballpark, particularly at Miller Park.
Well, if you like to do projections, you figure if you double the at-bats for Jones, you double the home runs. He's having a 30-homer, 100 RBI type season had he been here the entire year. Now, pitch count, the story with Yovani Gallardo, you heard Chris Bosio talk about wanting to keep Gallardo's pitch count a little more economical. 108 in just 5 innings his last time out. And you heard Bosio say ideally 90 pitches through 7 innings, but you rarely see that these days.
That's going to be tough for Yo to do. I mean, on a consistent basis because of the pitches that he throws. Typically pitchers that strike out a lot of batters. I mean, that's what Gallardo does. He's got 180 now. He's going to have 200 by the time the season's over. I mean, by definition, strikeout guys are going to throw more pitches.
Gets a lot of swings and misses, and he gets into a lot of deep counts. And he's into a deep count against Garrett Jones, 3-2. Andy LaRoche would be next. Pittsburgh with a runner at second. 1 out. McCutchen doubled to start this game. And Jones, a little half swing. They'll ask if he went. No, he didn't, says Jerry Lane. And it's a 1-out walk and 2 aboard for the Pirates in this first inning.
Man, that's the pitch right there that causes Gallardo to have those high pitch counts. I mean, the curveball that he throws is tough to throw for a called strike, and if batters lay off of it, 9 times out of 10 it's going to be called a ball.
I think that's been the trend more than any other pitch for Gallardo that has gotten him into that deep count. Really, you'd say about the All-Star break, maybe even a little bit before, but a lot of guys are just, they're taking the curveball, and he gets some called strike threes with the curveball, but for the most part hitters are laying off it.
And particularly early in the count. I mean, you're not going to go up there against Gallardo and look curveball, and if he doesn't throw it for a strike, he gets behind early.
Fastball popped up. Cameron under it. McCutchen's going to tag. Cameron will fire one off, and he keeps McCutchen at second base. So 2 outs. Gallardo got a fastball in on the hands of LaRoche for out number 2. Rock talked about the Pirates and their home run ability. It's not a team statistically that looks like a home run hitting ball club, but they've completely revamped their roster. They've traded away most of their starters. And the Pirates, while near the bottom of the league in team home runs, they've hit 16 home runs against the Brewers this year. And Garrett Jones with 15 for the season. Right at the top of their list for power hitters. Two outs, 2 on, and here's Steve Pearce. That gets away from Kendall, but the runners hold their ground.
So it was a busy day behind home plate for a catcher when Yo's on the mound because of that curveball. You call it, you figure it's going to be in the dirt. Shouldn't be surprised when it bounces. That's why most of the time you're going to see Jason or Mike Rivera be able to block it, because they anticipate it to end up in the dirt. That's where Yo has to throw it down in his zone.
There's a knee buckler for a strike. One thing Jason Kendall will do, he will continue to call for the breaking ball until Gallardo gets the feel of it. You know, you see a lot of it in the first inning. He misses it quite a bit with it if he doesn't come out of the bullpen with good touch, because Kendall knows he's going to need it to be effective.
And he will adjust his target based on where Gallardo was missing with it. He was missing down in the strike zone a lot with his curveball so far in this inning. And the last one he threw, his target was about mid-thigh, which is a pretty high target for a curveball. And lo and behold, it ended up being a strike.
You see Kendall tap on his helmet, telling Gallardo to be smart with this pitch. The 1-2 is a fastball. Pierce didn't chase. 2-2 the count. Yeah, Pierce able to lay off. So he took a good fastball, lays off the Gallardo curve, and it's 3-2. Another full count for Giovanni. Pirates are waiting on Steve Pierce to show some of the power he had in the minor leagues. He was a big prospect, still is a big prospect, getting a chance to play regularly now. Once they traded away Adam LaRoche, that opened a spot for Pierce to get consistent playing time. 3-2 on the way. And a grounder over to Counsell. Good play. Inning over. Pirates strand a pair. And we head to the bottom of the first. Brewers coming up. Here is the Brewers lineup, brought to you by Ken Maka, sponsored by Subway. Felipe Lopez, Craig Counsell, and Ryan Braun at the top. Braun riding a 10-game hit streak of his own. Middle of the order is fielder Cameron Catalanotto. And rounding it out, it's Kendall, Escobar, and Gallardo. And that lineup will face Kevin Hart, former Cub turned Pirate this year. And how about the Piggly Wiggly scouting report?
Well, that's a fifth start for the Pirates. They came over on July 30th for a couple of left-handed pitchers from the Cubs. Giving up 4 home runs in his first 4 starts, and it's basically 50-50. And talking to Dale Swaim about the pitches that Hart uses, a lot of fastballs, a lot of curveballs, so about 50-50 on the percentage. He's got pretty good life on the fastball from what we saw from him in PNC Park. 1-0 against the Brewers so far this year.
Felipe Lopez leads off for the Brewers. Lopez, a .316 hitter to start the day with 8 long balls and 44 driven in. Yesterday, Lopez was 0 for 4. Brewers had plenty of offense yesterday. They pounded out 8 runs and 12 hits. Kevin Hart was traded from the Cubs to the Pirates on the 30th of July for John Grabo and Tom Gorzelani. Pirates got rid of a couple of left-handers. Gorzelani was in the minor leagues with Pittsburgh. Hart had just won a game for the Cubs literally minutes after his victory. He was called into the office and informed he was traded to Pittsburgh.
He made his first big league start with the Cubs not that long ago. That came in July. Threw the baseball pretty well. 4.14 ERA with the Cubs. Hasn't really had as much success with the Pirates.
Well, Hart had won 3 consecutive games with Chicago prior to his trade. He just won his first game as a Pirate against Milwaukee. That was back on the 17th of August. Just 12 days ago, he went 6 innings against the Brewers, gave up 9 hits and 4 runs, but a game the Brewers, despite scoring 5 runs, could not keep the Pirates down. A game they would lose 9-5. Lopez starts the day 5th in the league in batting. He bounces that one over to Pierce for out number 1.
Yeah, all that offense for the Brewers in yesterday's ball game, and Felipe Lopez 0 for 4. He's a guy that seems to be getting on base 2-3 times a night.
And you wonder how much the toe injury is affecting him at the plate. It's on his right foot. Doesn't affect him as much as a left-handed batter as it does when he hits right-handed. He might have had a chance at an infield hit yesterday, as he does what every good leadoff hitter will do, go back to the bench and give the report to the hitters to follow.
And he probably said he's thrown a lot of fastballs tonight. I mean, every one of the pitches that he threw to Lopez was a fastball, low to mid 90s. He said he's got good life on that fastball, got good movement when he gets on top like that. Anywhere between 91 or 95 miles an hour. Good life when he throws it away to lefties. See that tail on it. Not much of a sink, but good tail. It runs away. .97. That's hot.
It's a hot gun.
Hot gun.
That's not the gun you want out on the streets.
Kevin Hart would be impressed with that.
You get a ticket for nothing. Now breaking ball missed. Counsell ahead of the count, 2-1. Craig Counsell batting .282 to start the day. Has 4 homers, 32 runs batted in. Gets the start at third base today with the right-hander on the mound. Counsell did not start yesterday. He pinch hit and ended up staying in the game defensively as he pops that one up. 2 up, 2 down for Kevin Hart. Sun peeking in. Kind of a strange weather day here in Milwaukee. A lot of cloud cover and cool temperatures. Closed up the roof for tonight's game. Thunderstorm activity is around us, but as of right now, it's dry outside. Well, it rained a lot last night. As soon as the game ended. If you were at the game last night and you walked to your car and you stayed till the end, you got drenched. As if it knew when to start raining as soon as the game let out. Now Braun riding a 10-game hit streak, a .314 average to start the day. Has 28 homers and 94 driven in. The home run's good enough for 8th in the league. His RBI is good enough for 4th in the league.
Yeah, he got a fastball right down the middle in last night's ball game. Knocked it out of here to left.
Ryan's also broken into the top 10 in hitting. He checks in 9th in batting to start the day. Hanley Ramirez still leads the league with a .366 average. Florida Marlins shortstop.
A good slider, first slider that Kevin Hart has thrown tonight. He basically fastballs, changeups to the lefties. The first two hitters were left-handed. He'll throw the sliders more to right-handed batters.
Jason Jaramillo, Wisconsin native, puts the sign down. The 1-2 and a breaking ball laced into right, but it's right at Garrett Jones, and the inning is over. Kevin Hart 3 up, 3 down through the Brewers order. We head to the second from Milwaukee. Stay with us. In here tonight, expecting a big crowd, a sellout crowd for the weekend series, the final weekend before the kids return to school. And it's great to have everybody here tonight. Great to have you with us watching the game on Fox Sports Wisconsin as well. Yovani Gallardo, a scoreless first inning, high pitch count inning, but Gallardo getting out of the frame, stranding 2 runners and stranding a leadoff double for the Pirates. Lastings Millage leads off for Pittsburgh. Millage has been a hot hitter for the Pirates. His batting average overall is at .252, but in his last 10 games he's batting .343. Another guy the Pirates acquired via trade. He was involved in that deal with the Washington Nationals for Nyjer Morgan. Millage went straight to AAA once traded, and now getting a chance in the big leagues.
Now, book on Lastings Millage is you got to bust him hard with the fastball. He likes the ball out over the plate. You saw him serve a couple in the right field so far. Did that yesterday and a couple of times when the team was in Pittsburgh.
Millage 2 for 3 last night, scored a couple of runs, chases that one, and down he goes as Gallardo picks up strikeout number 2.
Well, pitch down and away. Yovani Gallardo seeing if he's going to chase on the 2-2 pitch, and he did. Now 2-2 record for Gallardo in his last 4 starts. See the opponent batting average 25 strikeouts, and that's pretty much a foregone conclusion should Yo be able to stay healthy rest of the way. To get to 200 innings and 200 strikeouts, that would certainly be a nice accomplishment for him.
Gallardo 3rd in the league in strikeouts to start the day. Tim Lincecum still the National League leader in strikeouts. He's going to run away with another strikeout total win this season. Lincecum already has 222 Ks for the year. Javier Vasquez is second on that list, and an interesting name to be on a strikeout list. A guy who doesn't throw extremely hard for the Atlanta Braves, but gets a lot of swings and misses.
Yeah, with his changeup. And that's the pitch that I think the Brewers would like to see Yo throw a little bit more. That changeup. He's got a good one.
Escobar, a nice easy hop. Jaramillo is retired. 2 up, 2 down for Giovanni. And time now for our Cabot Woodstains legendary performance. Back on May 4, 2007, Claudio Vargas throws 6 innings of shutout baseball versus the Pirates. Prince Fielder and J.J. Hardy go a combined 6 for 9 with 2 home runs and 7 runs batted in, as the Brewers beat the Pirates 10-0. And it was the first win in what is now a string of 19 straight home victories by the Brewers over the Pirates.
Isn't that something?
19 consecutive wins here in Miller Park.
Hard to believe to have that kind of domination over any ball club at home, whether it's home or road.
Well, it marks the longest home winning streak by one team over another since the Orioles beat Toronto 19 straight games. That was back in the late 70s. Actually, it went from 78 to 81. But a Brewer win tonight, and it would be the longest winning streak at home since the Browns over the Orioles. They won 27 consecutive games in the 50s. The St. Louis Browns, the American League St. Louis team. So during this 19-game winning streak, the Brewers a .301 team batting average, scoring a lot of runs, nearly 7 a game, and that ERA, that's the key, right?
Yeah, look at that, 2.78. And a lot of the games that the Pirates played here at Miller Park over that stretch have been pretty good games. I mean, the Brewers have been lucky at times and have been able to win at the end of the ball game, some come from behind wins.
I think the one game that probably sticks out more than any other in this stretch was the Ryan Braun Grand Slam game. That was one of the most thrilling moments in the history of this ballpark. That came late in the season last year on the final homestand. But remember, that was a Grand Slam homer. That was a walk-off Grand Slam homer in extra innings. Tie game, forced extra innings, and then Braun had a magical moment
at a time when the Brewers needed a sweep last week of the season and ended up making the playoffs.
Full count to Brian Bixler. John Russell still without his everyday shortstop, Ronnie Cedeno. He's got a broken pinky finger and unable to play. It's on his right hand, so he's unable to play. So Russell's been giving Bixler a little playing time, and also Luis Cruz. Cedeno still available to pinch hit, and we saw him last night.
Yeah, Pirates trying to figure out what they have going into next season. You got to figure John Russell's got to be happy with the way his team has played lately since the first part of August.
Changeup strikes out Bixler, and Gallardo a nice clean second inning with 2 punch-outs. Prince Fielder set to lead off. He's homered in 3 consecutive games. How about 4 in a row? Stay with us. Off the second inning. 36 home runs for Fielder. Our Taco Bell who's hot. Look what he's done in his last 3 games. Has 4 hits, 3 of them home runs, and a pair of 3-run home runs in his last 2 games. He's driven in 8 total over the last 3, and hoping to continue here tonight. He is just 8 runs batted in from the franchise record for RBIs, which Cecil Cooper currently owns at 126.
And amazing how close their numbers are at this point in the season after 128 games. Talking about that on our Open tonight, our broadcast Open. And if you ask Prince what he's most happy about, he'll tell you that 300 batting average.
So Fielder starts the day batting .305. That one is hit high in the air to center field. Back is McCutchen at the wall, and he's got it. Fielder gave it a ride. Brought them all to their feet, but he comes up just a little bit short. And it's out number 1, a long, loud out for Fielder. Powerball home run leaderboard, Fielder with 36, Braun with 28, and Cameron a home run shy of 20. Brewers as a team have hit 150 homers this year, 3rd most in the National League.
An impressive belt there his first time up. But how about that batting practice that Prince put together today? Boy,
I was lucky enough to be down there. I try to always be down there for Prince's BP, but even Dale Swaim, who I would imagine would be the best poker player on the face of the earth, who barely has a reaction to anything, even looked at me during BP and said, "How about that?
This guy's something."
I mean, every ball he hit, it wasn't just the home run balls he was hitting, it was the line drives, and he went through a sequence with Willie Randolph pitching. I think he just made up his mind he was going to hit every pitch hard no matter where it was pitched, from line to line, just bullets off the wall.
Yeah,
it was something else. He has that kind of effect on players too. Even some of the Pirates players who were preparing for their batting practice just kind of stood on the rail there and watched. Of course, all the Brewers players enjoying a Prince Fielder batting practice session. Sometimes I think he likes BP more than he does the games.
Yeah. You can tell he was really fired up in BP today. You know what that told me? He had to figure out a way to get himself fired up. Because sometimes you come to the ballpark, you're just a little bit out of sorts, but you go over and above. I mean, you exaggerate the intensity and you exaggerate the enthusiasm, and it seemed as though Prince was doing that, getting himself ready for the ball game.
And making a game out of batting practice pitching.
And that rubs off on everybody else.
Sure.
That's what you're right about that.
Now, Fielder was in a batting practice group of Jason Kendall and Craig Counsell. Those two had no chance after
So they
that.
had some baseballs to spare. Not a lot of balls flying out of the ballpark except for when Prince got the at-bat.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Cameron. Count goes full, 3-2.
Yeah, it's interesting how batting practice is set up. It's not just the first 3 hit and then the second 3. It's, you know, Jason Kendall always hits in the first group, so you know he hits and then goes in the clubhouse and kind of talks to the pitcher to get ready for the baseball game. Lopez and Escobar always hit in the same group, so that they're in the infield during BP, so they can work on their double plays. There's a method to the madness in batting practice.
Yeah, it looks like total chaos if you just watch from the stands. There's baseballs flying everywhere, fungo bats everywhere, but there's a specific order and rhythm to it all. I'm surprised more guys don't get hit during batting practice. I actually saw a Pirate get hit yesterday as Cameron lines one to McCutchen, and it's out number 2.
Well, these guys have only been doing it pretty much their entire life. You know when to look for the baseball. You know, coaches hit fungos and they know when to hit them. Well, follow the Brewers on your iPhone and iPod Touch with MLB.com At Bat 2009. Features play-by-play, video highlights, and live audio broadcasts. Visit Brewers.com on your iPhone or iPod Touch to purchase.
Here's Catalinato. And a strike. This was yesterday, and all the activity that's going on. You see, this was Craig Hansen yesterday. He was standing talking to the Pirates shortstop, Luis Cruz.
You always have to have your eye on the baseball. You can't be having your head to the side like that. That's what happened.
Catalinato is out. Good pickup over there by Pierce. 6 in a row retired by Hart. No score. We head to the third. Farm and Fleet. You'll always find value at your local Farm and Fleet. By Piggly Wiggly. Shop the pig and save. And by Ho Chunk Gaming, Wisconsin. Yovani Gallardo, third on the strikeout list in the National League. Has 3 here tonight in his first 2 innings as he faces the pitcher Kevin Hart. No score. The only hit on Andrew McCutchen double, and that's how the game started for Gallardo, but he stranded McCutchen at second base. Pirates left 2 men on in the first. Hart's a good hitter. He has 4 hits and 15 at bats this season in his brief opportunities at the plate. 2 of those hits came against the Brewers. He also drove in a run against Milwaukee. Gallardo makes quick work of him, and it's strikeout number 4. And that leads us to our carsoup.com email the booth question. Brandon in La Crosse wants to know, with time to evaluate now, who made the best trade this season?
That's a tough one, huh?
The pitchers or hitters. You think about Cliff Lee,
5-0.
Matt Holliday.
Yeah, those are the 2 for me. I mean, Matt Holliday certainly turned around the St. Louis Cardinals. I mean, he's got a .282 batting average, 11 homers. And here's a guy that before he got traded with the Oakland A's only had 7 home runs. Cliff Lee on the mound tonight against the Atlanta Braves.
Joe Sherrill still hasn't given up a run for the Dodgers in a setup role. Victor Martinez has had a great run in Boston. McCutchen bunts. Gallardo takes care of him. There was a trade yesterday involving the Angels and the Tampa Bay Rays. Scott Kazmir traded to the Angels for 4 prospects, and that day is fast approaching where teams can make trades on the waiver wire transaction situation, which is complicated in one regard, but basically you have until September 1st to make those trades for the players involved to be eligible for the postseason.
Yeah, that was the problem with Todd Coffey not being able to participate in the postseason for the Brewers, because the Brewers got him sometime about the 2nd week in September. Got to be on the roster
by September 1st. So you would think there'll be some activity to occur, and explaining the waiver wire situation can get complicated. But basically every team, when you put a player on waivers every team has the right to
claim
that player.
Right.
And you see a lot of teams claim players to block other teams from acquiring. Now, the waiver wire is supposed to be private, but some names are starting to leak out here lately.
And most teams put just about all their players on that waiver wire to see who would claim them. Just because the team claims them doesn't mean that they get them. The team that has them already can pull them off of waivers. So getting a guy like Scott Kazmir means that every team in Major League Baseball passed on him. Kind of an interesting thing. Wonder how sometimes that can happen.
A lot of it has to do with injury situation or a contract situation. So that's just an interesting part of the game. There's the trade deadline, which is at the end of July, that you can trade players without passing through waivers. You won't hear general managers speak about waivers and who's on it and who's not. They are very protective of that. I think they're not allowed to speak about players on waivers. So there was a rumor that Trevor Hoffman was claimed off waivers. It's been bouncing around, but good luck getting anybody to comment on it.
Right. You can't get anything by anybody anymore, can you? Might not be true, but it's going to be out there.
There's a strike called on the outside corner, and Gallardo another quick inning. Giovanni with 2 more strikeouts. He has 5 in the game in the first 3 innings. Area. So they've sealed up the roof. They've closed up the panels as well. And a big crowd on hand. A sellout tonight at Miller Park. Great to see the fans supporting the ball club. Team that is 4 games under 500, but a whole lot of fun to be had at Miller Park. And who wouldn't want to see guys like Fielder and Braun and Gallardo go to work? Some of the faces of the franchise.
Check out Escobar go about his business. He's been a lot of fun to watch.
Well, Kevin Hart has gone right through the order, including Braun and Fielder. In the first couple of innings, 6 up, 6 down for Kevin Hart, who appears to have a lot of movement on his fastball tonight. As Kendall takes a strike. Hart has that little Rick Sutcliffe curl at the bottom of his delivery. As his arm gets into the firing mode right there. Kendall lines one into right center. That is going to shoot the gap. Jones will cut it off, but Kendall on his way to second, and he's in there with a double. The first Brewers hit An extra base hit from Jason Kendall.
Well, Jason loves that pitch away like that. A little bit up in the strike zone. Not too bad, though. It had the corner, but Jason able to take it to the opposite field, just out of the reach of Young at second base. It had the corner, but up. And Jason serving it out there in the right field. Goes all the way to the wall, just about to the wall, and end up getting into second base. Jason's been having much better at bats lately. Not sure if that's because Mike Rivera's played a little bit more. Who knows?
Kendall at second, and here's Escobar. He will do all he can to make sure Kendall ends up at third, and Escobar is drilled by a pitch. Trying to bunt, Hart comes inside, and Escobar fortunate to get out of that without an injury. That's got to be a scary deal.
Yeah, you see your life pass before you. When you square around like that and you see the ball coming right at you, it hits him right in the chest. Right in the sternum, it looked like. That's going to hurt. And you know there's not a lot of meat there up there for Escobar. Maybe someday there will, but not now.
He earned every bit of those 160 pounds. Well, he looks like he's all right. Quick trip to the mound for Jason Jaramillo, trying to settle down Kevin Hart.
And now you drop down the bunt. Just wonder how aggressive Yo's going to be to square around after that.
Kendall at second, Escobar at first. First two have reached in this third inning. Gallardo is a good bunter. 5 sacrifice bunts this year. And he squares early.
Trying to bunt it towards third base to have LaRoche field the baseball so there won't be a play at third. Steve Pearce going to get a good head start. Doesn't have to hold Escobar at first. He's going to be right on top of Gallardo.
Another foul ball. 0-2. Now the key base runner is Kendall. Pirates want to get the lead out at third base. Takes a good jump. Tough position to be in for Kendall. Anytime a bunter bunts and misses, that puts that base runner out at second base in a tough spot.
Yeah, particularly first and second, where that shortstop's going to be creeping in behind him. You bunt through it, it's a perfect opportunity for a pickoff.
Giovanni squares with 2 strikes. Has to get it down, and that one's over his head. Wow. All in 2 strikes.
Looks like a changeup or a slider that just didn't do anything, right over his head. Not even close. Nice play by Jaramillo. Well, just able to grab it in the webbing. That would have been nice. That ball gets to the screen. You're able to get base runners to advance 90 feet. John Russell knows how tough a play that is.
Former big league catcher. Ball and 2 strikes. Gallardo squares, pulls it back, and bounces one over to third. They go to second for 1. Nobody's at first. So at least one of the runners is advanced. Gallardo on the Butcher Boy play reaches first on a fielder's choice.
Well, the Pirates very lucky right there. They had the wheel play going. The second base going over to second base. Shortstop was over toward third. And nobody at first base, with Pearce crashing, trying to protect against the bunt down the first baseline. Good job by Yo to get that ball on the ground.
And the ultimate goal accomplished, to get Kendall to third base with 1 out. Now a fly ball should put the Brewers on the board. Top of the order, Felipe Lopez. Good fastball from Hart. Boy, he's throwing hard. He has a lot of movement tonight.
Yeah, he threw in a lot of breaking pitches back in Pittsburgh. I mean, about 50-50. That's what we're talking about with the scouting report tonight. But it's been about 95% fastballs. And most of them two-seamers. Good movement going away from lefties.
Kendall at third. Ball and a strike on Lopez. And he takes one down and in. 2 balls and a strike on Felipe. Hart making his second appearance, making his third appearance against the Brewers. Second as a Pirate. He pitched a couple of scoreless innings as a member of the Cubs. That was out of the bullpen in early July. And then he beat the Brewers as a starter on the 17th of August with the Pirates. Beat Carlos Villanueva at PNC Park. Two balls, 2 strikes on Lopez. And he pulls one to Pierce to second for one. The return throw not in time. That was a great play by Bixler. But the Brewers get a run. And it's 1-0 Milwaukee as Lopez beats it down the line. An incredible catch by Bixler.
I think Steve Pierce should have gone home. I don't think you really have much of a chance for a double play, particularly after the bad throw. Although, you know, Lopez isn't running all that well, still able to beat it, but he had a sure out at home plate to get Jason Kendall. It was a one-hop bullet. Elected to go for 2. I think maybe a good throw at second base. They might get the double play.
Well, instead, Lopez credited with the RBI. The Brewers have the early lead, 1-0. So 2 outs and a runner at first. And here is Craig Counsell. The put out on Gallardo goes 3-6. That ball could have easily ended up in left field. And with Gallardo running, you're looking at runners at the corners and still just 1 out and a run in. Good play by Bixler. Counsell dumps one into right, a base hit. First and second for the Crew on the second hit of the inning.
Yeah, that bad throw by Pierce could prove costly after this Counsell base hit. Now you get the big boys coming up. Prince and, I should say, Ryan and Prince Fielder. Anytime you get these guys to come up with men on base, top of the order's done their job.
Now Braun's sitting on 99 home runs. A home run here, and Braun not only gets to 100 home runs in his first 3 years, but he would get to 300 RBIs in his first 3 years. He's just 3 RBIs short of that mark.
And a .305 batting average. I mean, he's the total package.
2 outs, 2 on, and a run is in. Braun takes a strike. Felipe Lopez not running all that well, as we've documented. It's not a guarantee that he scores on a base hit. Oh, and 2 to Braun. Ryan with a 10-game hit streak. 2 homers away from 30 and 6 RBIs from 100. Well on his way to another 30 homer 100 RBI season.
Had a pretty good pitch to hit that last one. Fastball that leaked out over the plate. Fouled it off.
0-2 the count. Kevin Hart delivers, and Braun is hit by a pitch. So another hit batter. Hart has hit 2 in this inning. He almost hit Gallardo. And the bases are going to be loaded for Prince Fielder. And out comes Joe Kerrigan.
Yeah, trying to come inside. I mean, you're not going to hit Ryan on a 0-2 pitch. And all fastballs so far to Ryan Braun, particularly in this sequence. Fastball in, catches the corner. This is the pitch right here. This next one was the one for Ryan to hit. Left it out over the plate. And then on 0-2 tries to come up and in and gets a piece of Ryan's hand. A tough spot. And you have your hand gripped tightly around that bat. It's a good way to break a finger.
Danger spot. Looks like Braun's okay. Joe Kerrigan discussing the next move with Prince Fielder at the plate. Nowhere to put Prince. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Fielder with 1 grand slam in his career. It occurred earlier this year in Cleveland. Yeah, big cut.
Hold the string on him. Prince figuring a fastball was going to be coming. All speed pitch and Prince way out in front.
Fielder nearly hit 1 out his last time up. He sent McCutchen to the deepest part of the ballpark, making the catch at the center field wall. Bases loaded, 2 away. Jaramillo coming inside, and Fielder takes a ball. Boy, what's interesting now as you watch Fielder do his thing, and I've noticed this the last couple of days, the flash bulbs just popping with every pitch, trying to get that image of Fielder connecting. Truly the superstar treatment.
Right.
You don't really need a flash inside the ballpark.
A little too far away.
Very few players get it. Fielder's one of them.
Yeah, it's been all breaking pitches, a changeup and a couple of sliders. If the Prince nearly hit that first fastball from Kevin Hart out of the ballpark to center field, Pirates really not willing to throw him another one for a strike. Might have to do it here, though.
And the photographer's at the ready. Got Lopez at third. Counsell at second. Braun at first. Bases loaded for Prince. The 2-1. High and tight. Close shave from Hart.
Now you're going to pitch inside. You better be able to command a little bit better than Hart's been able to do so far. He drilled Ryan and a little bit too close for comfort to Prince. Can't be having guys throwing up around the head. I don't even care. I don't care if it's even for effect. Got to learn to pitch in.
3 balls and a strike on Fielder. A chance to do big damage here in the 3rd inning. 2 outs, bases loaded, and Prince takes ball 4. A breaking ball on a 3-1 pitch. Fielder walks in a run, gives him 119 for the season. And it's 2-0 Brewers.
Only 1 fastball in that whole sequence. That was the one that almost got him in the nose. First pitch changeup. Good pitch by Kevin Hart. Got ahead of him 0-1. And then 4 consecutive pitches out of the strike zone. Wasn't willing to throw him a strike. He comes up and in on a 2-1 count. A little bit too close for comfort. And then a slider for ball 4. Willing to give up 1 run with Prince at the plate, not 4. That's respect.
And Fielder content to take the walk. So now it's Cameron with the bases loaded. 2-0 Brewers. Hart retired the first 6 batters he faced tonight. But Kendall led this inning off with a double. He scored on the Lopez fielder's choice. And Lopez scores on the bases loaded walk. 2 hit batters in the inning and 2 narrow misses.
And 2 pitches a little bit too close to the head. One to Prince, and he got Ryan.
Mike Cameron lined out his last time up to center field. Oh, had a healthy cut. 0-2 on Cameron.
Yeah, hanging slider. Maybe hung just a bit too much.
Cameron with 19 home runs, 56 driven in for the year. Just about on his career numbers again. And a bunch of base runners to pick up here. The 0-2. Cameron lays off. Excellent play by Jaramillo to keep the run from scoring.
Yeah, Hart just can't seem to throw that slider for a strike. And don't think the Brewer hitters don't know it. They're just sitting up there. If he throws the slider, they're not going to pay much attention to it until he starts throwing it over the plate.
That's a balk. A run's going to score. Counsell scores the run. Now hang on a minute.
Timeout. I think our timeout was called.
Tony Randazzo says, "Come on back."
Yeah, they called timeout. Jerry Lane didn't see it.
So no balk.
Timeout was called before Kevin Hart started his delivery, then stopped. There it is, timeout. And then it all happened at the mound. Jerry Lane, third base umpire, didn't see it.
Not so fast, says Jerry Lane. All right, reset. Bases loaded. 1-2. Mike Cameron at the plate, and Cameron fouls one away. Now Cameron, for his career, a .251 hitter. Opens play today batting .260. Last year for the Brewers hit .243 with 25 home runs. Ooh, that one barely missed.
Yeah, just a little bit up.
2-2.
Not by much. Yikes. That was around the belt. Let's Jaramillo pull it down. That doesn't count, Jason.
Two runs are in. Cameron trying to add to it here. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Tried to reach back for a little extra, and all of a sudden Hart is in a full count situation with the bases loaded. All 3 runners will start with the pitch. Does he dare throw a breaking ball here? Full count, 2 outs. There go the runners. And a fastball yanked foul. Cameron jumping all over it, but out in front of it. And the count remains at 3-2.
Yeah, right down the middle, right in the wheelhouse of Mike Cameron. Just couldn't wait back long enough. Good pitch to hit.
Long at bat for Cameron. He's worked it full. Hart had him down to 2 strikes quickly. Runners take off, and Cameron gone on strikes. Bases left loaded, but the Brewers score twice. 2-0 Milwaukee. at that ERA, 2.13. He's also homered against Pittsburgh. Giovanni with 5 strikeouts tonight gives him 184 for the season, and he climbs that franchise record. Next on the list, Teddy Higuera, another Mexican-born Brewers pitcher. Gallardo wears his number 49, one of his childhood heroes when he was growing up watching the game. Giovanni is Mexican-born but Texas-raised. Came to the States at the age of 3 and was raised in the Dallas Metroplex.
And Teddy Higuera's big-time strikeout pitcher. Talk about a good changeup, Teddy Higuera. Man, not a big guy. He had a good fastball. He'll throw a curveball and a changeup that acted a lot like a screwball. Fernando Valenzuela-like.
Had to be a fun guy to catch.
Yeah.
Gallardo has dialed up his fastball here lately in the last couple of innings. Has 3 strikeouts on the fastball. Twice he has struck out Delwin Young looking on the fastball. Here's the 2-2 and a fastball that is laced into center. Garrett Jones with a base hit to start the 4th.
Purchase the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel August 16th to September 13th for your daily coupon to purchase the 2009 Micro Brewers magnets for only $2.99 each. Collect all 26 in this series and the Miller Park backing board. Quantity is limited, and that's while supplies last. We've got ours here in the booth.
Did you set your lineup today on the backing board?
You know, some of the guys have gotten stolen. I don't know who's going to be stealing, magnets, but
interesting.
They're disappearing. They're disappearing up here.
Missing a Jason Kendall magnet. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, it is. One thing I did, I set it up here. I set the lineup when it was a pitching change. I put the guy on the mound, and it's kind of the way I amuse myself up here. Can't do it anymore.
Got the magnets, the Etch-a-Sketch,
crayons.
Andy LaRoche batting with nobody out and a runner at first. 2-0 Brewers lead it. Both of the runs coming in the 3rd. Gallardo has 5 strikeouts through the first 3 innings. And until that single by Jones, Gallardo had retired 8 straight. He's given up 1 walk and now 2 hits. Impressive career numbers against the Pirates. This year, Gallardo in 3 starts has given up 6 earned runs in 21 innings. ERA of 2.57. Not your prototypical cleanup hitter, Andy LaRoche. Came to the Pirates last year in that 3-way trade that involved Manny Ramirez and Jason Bay. He came from the Dodgers. Prince in foul territory makes a catch. Out number 1. Aflac trivia tonight. We're going back to 1954. We want to know who was the fastest player to reach 150 career home runs. There's been a lot of talk about Braun and chase for his 100th home run in his first 3 years. Well, Fielder belted number 150 of his career last night. Fielder became a full-time player in the big leagues in 06. But had some at-bats at 05 as well. A pop-up. Pierce on the first pitch. And 2 outs for Gallardo.
Yeah, both on fastballs, back-to-back pitches and pop-ups in almost the same location. Andy LaRoche and Pierce. So Yo has pretty good life on his fastball.
2 outs, a runner at first, and Lastings Milledge the batter. Always eager to jump on the first pitch. Milledge has been a prize prospect for a number of years, starting with the New York Mets, and perhaps the Mets rushing him to the big leagues. Didn't work out in New York. He was traded to Washington.
That can set a guy back, indefinitely. You bring him up too fast, he struggles, he's not ready, starts questioning his abilities, and sometimes guys never recover from that. And a good curveball from Gallardo. Good spot for it on a 1-strike pitch. That goes for pitchers and position players. That's why, sometimes organizations aren't going to bring a guy up when everybody's screaming for the guy to play in the big leagues. Organizations know what's going on. They know when it's time.
And they know the personality of the player. As Milledge just serves one out into right field, a base hit. Jones on his way to third.
How many times have we seen that in Lastings Milledge?
It's like a tennis backhand. He just laid the bat on it, and he comes up with a base hit.
All arms, just trying to put the ball in play, and dumps it into right field. Look at this. Fastball about 3 inches off the outside corner. And just serves it out there and dumps it in front of Catalinato in right.
So the Pirates with runners at the corners. Milledge has his first hit and his third hit of the series already. And that brings up the switch hitting catcher Jason Jaramillo from Racine, Wisconsin. Jaramillo actually from Franksville, Wisconsin, outside Racine. Played at Case High School and always has a big group here at Miller Park when the Brewers play the Pirates. And he's been able to stick in the big leagues.
He did a nice job when Doman was on the disabled list. Did the baseball pretty well, particularly here in Milwaukee early in the year.
Some of the Pittsburgh press corps reporting that Doman has gone from the disabled list to John Russell's doghouse. Pulled in the middle of yesterday's game.
Yeah.
We were wondering if something happened to Doman. No injury. And then a closed door meeting yesterday.
Personality conflict.
And today Jaramillo gets the start.
Just trying to establish who's boss in that dugout, in that clubhouse. And players have to understand that. Manager runs a show, whether you agree with him or not.
Walked him. Bases are loaded for the Pirates. Second walk issued by Gallardo. And Jaramillo, good patient at bat. That'll get Bixler to the plate with the bases full. Gallardo with 2 outs and a runner on. Then he gave up a hit to Milledge. A little soft swing and a flare into right for a base hit. And now a walk to Jaramillo. And Giovanni has to bear down with Brian Bixler at the plate.
Yeah, Bixler struck out his first time up, but he put a charge into one last night. Came up as a pinch hitter and drove one over Cameron's head and center.
And a pinch hit double and a run scored last night. Gallardo starts him with a breaking ball to get ahead. Oh, and 2. Bixler, another one of the young Pirates, former second rounder by Pittsburgh. He was involved in the same draft Yovani Gallardo was back in '04. Taking just a few slots from Gallardo, who was in the second round as well. 26 years of age. Bixler was up briefly last year. He played in 50 games at the big league level. He didn't hit much.
He didn't look like he was ready to hit at the major league level, but he has a pretty good glove, as we saw in that play at second base last inning.
He's up there in a big spot for the Pirates. Bases loaded, the 1-2, and a fastball misses. 2-2 the count. Pitch count rising for Gallardo. Now a key pitch. Yovani does not want to get to a 3-2 count. And a swing and a miss. Kendall blocks it. All you need to do is step on the plate with the bases loaded. And he secures the strikeout. Yovani strands the bases loaded on his 6th punch out.
Opportunity to help Jeff Suppan support military families, and one lucky fan will go home with a basket of prizes, including both a jersey and a baseball autographed by Jeff, along with other special team items. Visit the Brewers Charity /Jeff Suppan Bobble Raffle table located on the field level concourse, section 123, anytime before the end of the 4th inning. Raffle tickets will be sold for $5 apiece. Proceeds from the raffle will be donated to Brewers Charities to support military causes near and dear to Jeff Suppan, including the Intrepid Fallen Heroes Fund and the Honor Flights Program. For more information, visit brewers.com/community, guys.
All right, Telly, thanks a lot. Looking forward to that tomorrow. Jeff Suppan against Ross Ohlendorf tomorrow. Ohlendorf is a big right-hander and a very good one this year. Numbers.
Yeah, he's done well against Milwaukee.
He's got an ERA of 4.10, 11-8 record.
Not against the Brewers. I really pitched a good game last time, not against Milwaukee. That in Pittsburgh.
Emphatic safe call from Jerry Lane. Catalanato able to check his swing. Ooh, might have got a break there. Catalanato has an honest look about it, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Maybe that's what sold it. And the fact that he's using a black bat. He'll pop up in foul territory. Easy play for Andy LaRoche. There's something to that. Aflac trivia. Since '54, who was the fastest player to reach 150 career home runs? Fielder with his 150th last night in game number 641. Ryan Howard, the fastest, did it in 495 games.
Yeah.
Boy, that's something.
It is.
That was last year. He did that in July of last year. Pujols is second on that list. Ryan Howard did it in about 100 games faster than Pujols. What's interesting is Fielder, he's well down on the list, but he did it in game 641. His dad Cecil did it in game 640 of his career. So some symmetry there.
Yeah.
Between father and son.
Both of them had monumental power. Cecil, right-handed hitter. The only ball that I'd ever seen actually leave County Stadium in left center over everything, off of Dan Plesac.
Well, Cecil did it in 92. Prince did it last night. Three balls and a strike on Kendall.
Same count last time up for Jason. He got the double.
Kendall doubled and scored in the third inning. 2 runs in the third for the Crew. RBIs from Lopez and Fielder. And neither run batted in came on a hit. Lopez was on a fielder's choice. Prince a bases loaded walk. Kendall walks. Second walk. And the 2 hit batters as well. We take you back to 91. 502-foot home run. I assume this is the one you're talking about.
Yeah.
1991, Cecil Fielder hitting one out of County Stadium.
The only one I'd ever seen.
That was 1 year prior to his 150th home run, just to give you some reference. Early in Cecil's career.
I do remember in the days of Canseco and McGuire, when Oakland would come waltzing on into County Stadium, they put on an exhibition in batting practice. Now that's a tough ballpark to hit homers. I mean, particularly on a night like the one Cecil hit, you know, it was heavy air. I mean, that's normally the way it was, but to hit one over everything, out of the place. Incredible. And Plesac still talks about it and is very proud of it.
Usually, you can ask any pitcher, ask any major league pitcher who the longest home run hit was. Now, Prince has never hit one out of Miller Park, but that one would have been out of Miller Park. But the giant scoreboard got in the way.
I think that was minimum 503.
At least. It says 465 because they measure it to where it actually hit, but not even close to 465.
Right.
Where it actually struck the scoreboard was 465. Up there. He hit a few up there in batting practice today as well. Which I didn't think was possible. You know, to see him hit one in a game, you bring in the extra velocity with the fastball by the pitcher, the extra adrenaline that's involved in a game situation.
Yeah.
Batting practice, you know, on a 65-mile-an-hour pitch, 75-mile-an-hour pitch, he still hit one up there.
These guys, you hit them hard, you get them off the batter's eye, that black batter's eye in center field. Not Prince.
Three balls and a strike on Escobar. With Kendall at first. Escobar would like to get him on the move. Oh, had a good cut. Rock, you mentioned today on Brewers Live pregame, talking about Escobar. The Brewers would like to see him show a little more patience at the plate, but you can understand a young hitter anxious to swing the bat.
Well, so far he's, you know, in 46 official at bats, he's only struck out 5 times. The 2 walks, I guess, more of a reflection of, you know, pitchers throwing him strikes and, you know, really making him hit his way on, as opposed to him not having a good eye.
Kendall takes off. Escobar fouls it away. Last night, Escobar did exactly what the Brewers would like to see him do, and that is good situational hitting.
Yeah, both base hit to the opposite field, both base hits driving in runs. Not trying to overswing. You know he can play defense. He's got a good arm, good soft hands, and good reactions. A nice backhand play here, and a hose over to first base.
Just 22 years of age, and a very bright future. Kendall off again, a bouncer to Bixler, and his only play is first.
Had the right guy covering, didn't they? They had the off infielder covering second base on the stolen base attempt, and Escobar hit it right at Bixler. Had Bixler been covering, would have been a base hit.
Jason Kendall went in there heavy, trying to break up a double play. I don't think he realized that the throw was going to first. He actually overslid the bag. Delwyn Young said, "Was that meant for me?"
Might have had something to do with those pitches that have been in on the Brewer hitters in this game. That's one way to make your point. Coming in hot at second base.
It'll be up to Yovani Gallardo with 2 outs. MLB Network did a nice piece on the breakup of the double play, and where the rule actually began was the play that involved Willie Randolph at second, with Hal McRae basically in left field taking out Willie Randolph.
Well, never sliding, just doing a body block at second base.
I was talking to Willie about that today. He said, you know, the smartest thing he did, it was all instinct, but as Hal McRae came barreling across home plate, Hal McRae actually used second base as a springboard and hit Willie Randolph. And Willie said, the last thing I did is get my feet off the ground.
Right.
And that saved every ligament I had in my legs. And that's where they changed the rule.
Yeah,
you had to be able to touch the base.
Yeah, you get those feet dug in there, then you're going to really have problems. Knee problems, ankles, you name it.
Breaking ball strike. Gallardo is gone, and the inning is over. We head to the 5th at Miller Park. 2-0 Brewers. School starts for most Wisconsin kids on Tuesday. So this is the last chance to hang out late at the ballpark. Well, Yovani Gallardo has been impressive. He's had 2 jams in this game, but has pitched out of both. Stranded a pair in the first inning, and then stranded the bases loaded in the 4th.
That's the one thing you like about what Yo's done. 2 walks, 6 strikeouts so far tonight. Pirates 0 for 4 with runners in scoring position, including a big strikeout to end the 4th for the Pirates. They had the bases loaded.
4 innings, 76 pitches. Gallardo at one point had retired 8 straight. And facing the pitcher Kevin Hart to lead off this 5th.
That's a mighty hack. Guy's hitting .250 this year. Nothing wrong with that.
Hart beat the Brewers just a couple of weeks ago and had a couple of hits at the plate against Milwaukee. Drove in a run. Got an idea at the plate. Gallardo struck him out with a breaking ball his last time up. Thought he might chase another one. Giovanni cruised through the 2nd and the 3rd. Had the bases loaded in the 4th. So a couple of deep pitch count innings. You'd always like to stay around 13 to 17 in a particular inning. Especially for Gallardo, a strikeout pitcher.
Yeah. Well, first inning, 23 pitches, so he got off to a slow start with respect to keeping that pitch count down. Kind of sets the tone, that first inning.
Oh, Giovanni walks the pitcher.
Ahead 0-2.
Well, that is a no-no as Hart draws the walk. Leads us to our U.S. Cellular text to vote question this week. Wondering, should Pete Rose be reinstated into baseball? Want to hear from you. You can text your answer to 234-234. Text W for yes, X for no, and we'll show you the results tomorrow. 234-234, courtesy of U.S. Cell. McCutchen takes strike 1. Walks are hard to work around, especially to lead off innings, and especially against opposing pitchers. Not something Gallardo does very often.
Yeah, particularly when you're ahead 0-2. You get 2 strikes on him, try to throw the perfect pitch. A couple of breaking balls that he missed with, then couldn't throw the fastball for a strike.
Slow roller. Escobar's got to hurry. The throw is in time. What a throw by Escobar.
Yeah, that's not an easy play right there. I thought that maybe his best shot was at second base with the pitcher at first. But Escobar got there quickly, got it out of his glove, and made a good strong throw over to Prince at first. Got to get rid of it quickly. That's the tough part of that play. And able to get McCutchen by an eyelash.
Making up some ground with that great arm. Well, McCutchen can fly.
Yeah.
Escobar guns him out.
Looks like a sprinter.
So a nice play for the young shortstop. Hart does advance to second base. And here's Delwyn Young. Gallardo has struck out Young twice, both on fastballs.
Looks like Young's up there looking breaking pitch. So what does he do? He throws him a curveball and he swings at it. Anytime you get a good hitter caught looking twice on fastballs, you got to believe he's looking for something else. And this guy is a pretty good hitter.
6 strikeouts for Gallardo. Young twice. Got Hart at second base. 2-0. The Brewers lead it. And Giovanni gets ahead of him 0-2. Chris Bosio keeping a close eye on Gallardo. Brewers pitching coach. See what he does here. 0-2. Another fastball. Haven't seen a lot of changeups from Gallardo tonight.
No. 1 or 2. That's been it. I'll tell you, about 3 or 4 starts ago, it was a good pitch for him. He used it maybe back-to-back starts a while ago, but the last 2 starts hasn't used it much. Don't know why.
When Gallardo first arrived to the big leagues 2 seasons ago, that was his best pitch. There's a curveball. They'll ask if he went. No, he didn't. Jerry Lane says he checked it. 2-2. Slices one down the line. That is going to fall. A base hit. Braun cuts it off. Young on his way to second, and he's in there with a double. An RBI double for Delwyn Young.
There's your changeup right there. And he left it up in the zone. Hadn't thrown too many. Doesn't have really a feel for it, I guess. And Delwyn Young, after being called out looking on a couple of fastballs his first 2 times up, able to wait back long enough for the changeup. It just seems as that guy's looking for off speed. Yo throws him the change. It was up a little bit, but it had the corner. But Young able to wait back and dump it down the line and left. So the leadoff walk to the pitcher comes around to score.
Two to 1, the Brewers lead it. And the tying run in scoring position for Garrett Jones. Jones has been on twice against Giovanni tonight. He walked in the first and then singled in the fourth. It's never coming back. Into right center, Cameron with room. And Young won't challenge. So 2 outs. Dangerous hitter retired in Garrett Jones.
Yeah, got down on the trademark just enough to keep it in the ballpark. A near miss by Jones. Hit that ball pretty well.
He's got that classic home run hitter swing.
Yeah, a little bit of an uppercut. Just caught it down on the handle just a bit.
Two outs for Andy LaRoche. A run is in for the Pirates. Well, the Brewers had a chance to open it up in the 3rd inning. Had the bases loaded with Fielder at the plate. Fielder walked, which plated the 2nd run. Then Cameron struck out. Pirates stranded the bases loaded last inning. And Gallardo drops a curveball in there for a strike. Looking at some of the stats, Brewers pitchers this year have walked 12 pitchers at the plate for the season.
Well done. Where'd you find that?
That came from Stats Inc.
Wow, nice.
And, 4 of the 12 have scored.
It's an impressive stat you're able to dig up.
Well, you wonder how many pitchers actually draw walks, and Ken Maka made that a point of reference. You know, we feeling like the Brewers pitching staff giving up not only too many walks but too many hits to opposing pitchers. Gallardo walks the pitcher to start this 5th, and he scores the run. And now LaRoche sends one deep to left, and the Pirates have taken the lead. Andy LaRoche on a 2-2 pitch belts his 7th homer of the year, and just like that, the Pirates are up 3-2.
And as you mentioned, it all started with a walk to the pitcher. LaRoche doing a good job tomahawking that fastball up and in. Ordinarily not a bad pitch to a right-handed batter, but apparently LaRoche looking for something inside. You see the way he's able to pop the hips open. He keeps the hands close to the body and rides it on out of here. Hits that one pretty well on a pitch up and in.
3-2 Pirates. They have now belted 17 home runs against the Brewers this year. In 9 games, as Claudio Vargas begins to get loose, and here comes Chris Bosio from the Brewers dugout.
Not so sure if that was a bad pitch to Adam or Andy LaRoche. I mean, up and in, normally where you want it after throwing a couple of curveballs. Looked like he got it where he wanted to, but Andy LaRoche looking for it. This pitch is up and in on LaRoche, and he just turns on it. I mean, not much you can do about it. Of course, the problem there is that Jason Kendall, he wanted it on the outside part of the plate, ended up and in, and LaRoche jumped all over it.
LaRoche has a couple of home runs this year against the Brewers. Not a big home run hitter, but has some pop in his bat, as you can see. They think he'll grow into a home run hitter in the big leagues. A 2-run shot puts him on top. Pittsburgh 3, Milwaukee 2, and Pierce with a mighty cut. 2-1.
Yeah, a lot of pitches in the 5th inning.
Pierce goes, and it's 2-2. Giovanni up over the 100 pitch plateau. Another high pitch count performance from Gallardo. Some talk before the game about what Ken Macha would do with his starting rotation. The Brewers have an off day Monday. Will he bump everybody else up a day and skip somebody in the rotation? Ken Macha said he'll have that decision tomorrow. Gallardo strikes out Pierce, his 7th punch out, but the Pirates get 3 runs in the 5th inning. And a 3-2 Pittsburgh lead. Ryan Braun will hit 3rd when we come back. Top of the order for the Crew. Braun sitting on 99 career homers. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. Felipe Lopez leads off. The Brewers are now trailing the Pirates 3-2 as Andy LaRoche belts a 2-run homer. Did it with 2 outs and 2 strikes against Gallardo. 3-run inning for the Pirates. See if the Brewers can respond and put their ace back on top with a chance to win this game. This homestand will wrap up tomorrow. Afternoon game here at Miller Park, and then Monday is an off day. A quick 3-game road trip for the Brewers coming up next. They go to St. Louis Tuesday, right back here in Miller Park on Friday. So that'd be a nice reward for the kids after their first week of school.
Right.
Come out to the ballpark.
Nice weekend. Brewers are due for a nice short road trip. 3 days, not too bad.
In and out of St. Louis. St. Louis is putting together some kind of stretch run. Boy, when they needed to play well, they put the hammer down. They have a 9-game lead in the division. They're 12 games up on the Brewers. Cardinals have won 75 games now. They're 20 games over 500. Had a big start last night from John Smoltz. He went 6 innings. Pujols had a walk-off homer against Washington. The largest lead of any of the division leaders.
And who would have thought when the second half started?
Bouncer out to Delwin Young. And a bad throw, and Lopez is safe. Young had all kinds of time with Lopez hobbled by that toe injury and just let one sail.
Now the Pirates able to score 3 runs after the pitcher walked to lead off the inning. How about an error? Let's see what that does for the offense. You can't get any more routine than this. That's a terrible throw by Delwin Young. Maybe a little nonchalant. Not even close.
So too much time, perhaps. The Pirates have committed the fewest errors in the National League. That's just their 55th error of the year. But a man is on to start it. And here's Craig Counsell.
Man, one of the best defensive teams in the National League, and they turn a lot of double plays.
Which can be good and bad, right?
That means there's been a lot of base runs.
You got to have a lot of men on base to turn a lot of double plays.
That tells a lot of different stories.
That's the 3rd error for the Pirates in the last 13 games.
Which is pretty good.
It's interesting that, you know, most of those defensive numbers from the Pirates didn't occur with this group of players. Now, Andy LaRoche, the only holdover from what was an infield that had Adam LaRoche at first, Freddie Sanchez at second, and Jack Wilson at short.
And the whole team.
All 3 of those players traded away.
Not just the infield, the outfield too.
He had good defensive outfielders in Nigel Morgan and Nate McLeod. Traded. John Russell has to walk around and say, put this name tag on. A chopper that is going to make its way through the infield. Lopez on his way to third. Here comes the throw by Jones. Not in time. And Lopez takes the extra base as Counsell singles to right. And the Brewers are in business here in the 5th inning.
And Lopez seems to be able to turn on the afterburners only when he needs to. On orders by the Brewers to, take it easy when the opportunity presents itself. But when you need to turn it on, go ahead. And that's what he does here. A little high chopper into right field. Garrett Jones able to get there. Made a pretty good throw, but Lopez never slowed down around second base. Still not running all that well, but able to get into third base with nobody out.
And with Ryan Braun coming up, 3-2 Pirates. The Brewers a chance to get right back on top. Braun was hit by a pitch his last time up. Had a line drive out his first time up in the first inning. And he pops that one foul. Hart had him out in front a little bit.
And they started him off with a slider. Been pounding with fastballs pretty much the first 2 times up. Started him out with a slider. Ryan's had a couple of hanging sliders to swing at. Last time up he got one, fouled it off. And first pitch slider that time, pretty good pitch to hit.
Braun trying to extend a hitting streak that has reached 10 games. Had a couple of hits last night, including a home run. Bouncer to second. Young takes it himself. Turns the double play, but the Brewers tie the game. No RBI for Braun, but an important base running move from Felipe Lopez to make it to third on that Counsell hit. And that's what gets the Brewers all tied up here in the 5th inning.
Yeah, good sinking action on that fastball that time by Kevin Hart. And Braun beats it into the ground right at Delwyn Young, who decides to take it himself and turn the double play. But the Brewers tie it up.
Well, here's Prince with nobody on and 2 gone. 3-3 ball game in the 5th.
You think he's going to get anything to hit here?
He didn't get anything to hit when it was bases loaded.
Right.
Hart walked him and walked in a run.
That's why that number 5 spot in the batting order is going to be very important for the Brewers the rest of the way.
And another breaking ball. That one's in there for a strike.
Guy behind Prince has to be able to get hot, drive in some runs. And all sliders. Slider in off the inside corner.
Struck him out. And Jaramillo secures it at first. So the inning is over, and after 2 on to start the inning, Brewers only get 1. And its family of instant scratch games. Odds are you'll like them. By Airtran. Go. There's nothing stopping you. And by Aflac. We've got you under our wing.
And tonight's time of the game winner is Who's the Boss in Hilbert, Wisconsin. If they call the Brewers by 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, They get 40 tickets to a Brewers home game this year. This offer courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and Miller Lite. Well, he said that Prince wasn't going to get anything to hit, and he indeed did not get anything to hit. Certainly not a fastball for a strike. The only pitch that actually went over the plate. And then Prince started to expand his strike zone, a slider in, and then a curveball in the dirt. And Kevin Hart able to get Prince. Prince being a bit anxious in that at bat, something we haven't seen much of.
A very patient hitter this year, out of his shell a little bit that time. And the inning ends with the Brewers scoring 1 run, an unearned run. Claudio Vargas takes over for Yovani Gallardo. Pitch count got Gallardo here tonight. 5 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs, all earned, and all 3 runs coming in the 5th for Pittsburgh. Tied at 3 in the 6th. Vargas facing Millage to start this 6th inning. And the final numbers for Gallardo: 7 strikeouts tonight. Brewers are being very careful with not only his innings pitch, but his pitch count for the rest of the year.
Well, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts, not too bad, but when you lead off an inning and walk the pitcher, that's what hurts.
Lastings Millage does it again. Well, he has just been leaning out and poking base hits all over the ballpark here the last 2 days. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Brewers. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. Millage with his 2nd hit, a leadoff single, and here's Jason Jaramillo. And Vargas had him picked off. Millage able to sneak a hand in there on a high throw from Claudio.
If that ball is down around Prince's knees, he's got him. He was taken off. We had to make the adjustment and get back safely. Millard's giving himself away. Looks like he wants to run.
Millage has 4 stolen bases, has not been in the big leagues very long, as Jaramillo doesn't give him a chance to run. Pop up on the first pitch he sees, and out number 1. Well, every manager likes to put base stealers in front of hitters who can work deep into a count. I'm not sure John Russell has many options with his particular lineup.
Yeah, they like to bang early, don't they? Particularly when they get a pitch that they like. I guess the only guy that has really, worked the count that we've seen for this Pirate club has been Delwyn Young, and he is, a matter of fact, right by McCutchen. He's the base stealer in this club. These guys see a pitch to hit, and they're going up hacking, which makes him a tough group to pitch to. I mean, it's tough to set up a team like that, to set up pitch by pitches. Sit and throw one pitch to set up another, because you never know how long you're going to be able to do that. These guys are swinging so early in the count.
Well, you say, where's this guy's strengths and weaknesses? I don't know. He keeps swinging at the first pitch.
Right.
There's no book on him yet.
Be careful first pitch, that's for sure.
Now Bixler with 1 away. Vargas a sinker baller. And with a sinker ball pitcher on the mound, there's always that chance at a ground ball double play.
Pretty good running situation here. You got to figure Vargas is going to throw a strike. Good hit and run count. 2-0, 2-1.
There's a sinker. Kendall put down the twirling finger. That's kind of the universal sign for a sinker ball.
Like stirring a drink, cup of coffee or something.
As opposed to just putting the one down straight.
Four seamer.
Be a more of the straight fastball variety. wants another one. Another sinker on the way. 2 balls and a strike. Milledge takes off, and a swing and a miss. Kendall's throw to second is in time for the out. Kendall guns down Milledge.
Now the idea on a hit and run is to have the hitter actually hit the baseball. On a hit and run, the base runner doesn't get as good a jump as he would if it's a straight steal. You got to make sure that the pitcher goes to home plate. Bixler swings right through it, and a very good throw by Jason Kendall, and a good tag by Escobar to get him at second base. Well, you could see that coming from a mile away, couldn't you? A hit and run.
Bixler cuts through it. Now Vargas a chance to get out of the inning. The 2-2. Got him. Fastball on the back door. And down goes Bixler, and Vargas has a nice 6th inning. Situational hitter the Brewers have. And listen and watching the broadcast, it's a very good question. You would have to think Craig Counsell is on that list. And Alcides Escobar, for a young player, has shown the ability to hit behind runners. Situational hitting has a lot to do with what you do with men on. Trying to advance a runner from second to third, perhaps with a ground ball. Or if a runner is at third base and less than 2 outs, maybe a fly ball to the outfield that allows for a sacrifice fly. And those guys work on it during batting practice every single day. Situational hitter. The hitting coach will mark out the situation, and the hitter has to then oblige. So I'd go with Counsell and perhaps Escobar. Here is Mike Cameron to start the bottom of the 6th inning, all tied at 3. Both teams have had their opportunities here tonight. Pirates stranded the bases loaded in the 4th inning. The Brewers had Cameron at the plate, 2 runs in, and the bases loaded in the 3rd. And Kevin Hart struck out Mike Cameron.
Yeah, the Brewers have left only 4 runners stranded tonight. The Pirates 5. So, although it seems as though there's been a lot of activity on the bases, not a lot of runners stranded yet tonight. Plenty of game left. Brewers hitless with runners in scoring position tonight, 0 for 5. And after the Pirates' 5th inning, where they were 2 for 3 with runners in scoring position, a double and a home run, they're now 2 for 7.
Both of the runs for the Brewers were, or the first 2, I should say, produced on a walk and a fielder's choice, as Cameron is down on strikes again. The other run, the 3rd run, an unearned run, but it scored on a double play from Braun, so no RBI credited.
Yeah, fastball looked like it was right down the middle, maybe caught in between. Was Cameron thinking in the back of his mind that slider that's been giving him a problem tonight, and Hart able to throw that 4-seamer right by him.
Frank Catalanato with 1 away. Catalanotto is 0 for 2. Hart's had him off balance twice. A little bouncer out to Hart. 2 up, 2 down in the 6th. Let's get you caught up here. Our Toyota game summary. Game 2 of the series with the Pirates. Gallardo was sharp early. At one point he retired 8 straight batters, but Giovanni ran into trouble in the 5th. Pirates scoring 3 runs, and it was capped off with an Andy LaRoche 2-run homer. LaRoche belted that home run with 2 outs and 2 strikes. Did it on a 2-2 count. And a quick 3 for the Pirates. Put them on top. The Brewers came right back and tied the game in the 5th. And that's where we sit. 2 outs, bottom of the 6th. Jason Kendall at the plate. One of the concerns that Ken Macha has with this particular lineup, once you get to Catalanotto, you get to the 6th spot in the order, you know it's going to take 2 or 3 hits to produce a run. You know, you don't expect many home runs from Catalanotto and Kendall and Escobar.
No, it's not just home runs either. It's extra base hits, doubles. And it's tough in this league to count on, 2-3 base hits to score runs. 3-4 hits, stringing hits together, although the Brewers have been able to do that recently. That's not something that happens all that much.
Now the Brewers lost a lot of power in the absence of J.J. Hardy and Corey Hart. Hart due to injury, appendectomy surgery at the beginning of the month. And of course Hardy sent down to AAA Nashville.
Yeah, Brewers had 7 hits in the first inning in yesterday's game. That's what you call stringing hits together. But you can't count on that too much.
Especially when an opposing pitcher is on his game. He might make a mistake here or there, and you can strike with a home run. But tough to put a lot of hits together. Kendall doing all he can. He's worked it full. Jason's been on twice. He doubled in the 3rd inning, and then he walked his last time up. Full count, 2 outs. And Kendall shoots one to the outfield again. Just a beautiful piece of hitting by Jason Kendall.
Exactly what we're talking about. I mean, you get good contact out of the bottom of your order, but you're not going to get a lot of power. And because of that, sometimes they can be tough outs. 3-2 pitch. Kevin Hart gets one up in the zone, and Kendall able to hit it hard into right. His second base hit. He's been on all 3 times. Good piece of hitting by Kendall.
And here is Escobar. Hit by a pitch and a ground out tonight. He's 0 for 1. Escobar, big cut. Well, you kind of get the feeling Escobar has a chance to hit some home runs in his career. He's only 22. He's got a lot of maturing to do physically, but he certainly takes a good lash at it.
Well, the Brewers hope he doesn't think about hitting home runs too much. Not yet.
Just let them happen.
Hit a ground ball somewhere, use your speed, get on base, steal some bases. That's what they see in him. They don't see him as a power threat. And he was able to do that consistently and start drawing some walks. And that may or may not come, as he gets a little bit more comfortable in the big leagues. Be a good leadoff hitter.
Good breaking ball from Hart. And he's ahead of Escobar. No balls, 2 strikes. Pitcher spot is due up next. And Maka has already sent Jody Garrett to the on deck circle. Kendall takes off a delayed steal and he makes it without a throw. He picked the right pitch to run on and pulled one out of Bill Schroeder's playbook.
No, I love the delayed steal. Jason did that in Minnesota last year. You don't see those too often. You steal this one in the middle of the infield. Watch Kendall. A couple of shuffle steps, takes off, and by that time everybody falls asleep. You don't figure he's going to steal. Done to perfection. Well done, Jason.
What a smart time to do it as well. Now Kendall in scoring position, a base hit. The Brewers can take the lead.
Hey, a stolen base is a stolen base, right?
Absolutely.
Doesn't matter how they come. The key to setting that up is to take those shuffle steps every time. If you do it every time and you're thinking about the delayed steal, I mean, then the infield kind of falls asleep a little bit.
See if Escobar can cash it in. The 1-2 and a bouncer over to short. Bixler, a long throw and a wild throw, and Escobar is safe. I'm not sure they get him if the throw is accurate.
Bixler having a rough night. Relatively routine play at shortstop, just not able to make it. So a couple of bad throws in the infield and errors. That is single. Yep. Official score figuring that a good throw, not even going to get Escobar because of his good speed, and credit Escobar with a base hit. Boy, that's certainly a play that a major league infielder has got to be able to make. Pretty good breaking pitch. He lays the bat on it and beats it at first base. That's kind of that bat the Brewers like to see out of Escobar. Not that one where he's going to back leg it and try to hit out of the ballpark and swing and miss. He's only struck out 5 times since he's been called up, which is very good. Almost 50 at bats. Good contact hitter. Every team could use one of those, particularly a guy that can run.
I think Bixler was surprised at how quickly Escobar was moving down the line and forced a poor throw.
That's still a play that's got to be made.
Runners at the corners now. Back-to-back hits for the Brewers. Kendall and Escobar, and Jody Garrett will have a chance to put Milwaukee on top. 6th inning, 2 outs. By the way, just for the scorebook here, the Jason Kendall to second base, not a stolen base. It has been called a wild pitch
because it didn't take off right away. I challenge that.
I think he was going no matter what.
That's a delayed steal. I mean, he was going regardless of where that ball was. I disagree.
How many red flags do you have in your pocket?
None. It doesn't matter
what. Do you get an official challenge?
No.
That's too bad.
But you get it. You know what I'm
saying.
saying.
Exactly. He was going.
He was going.
It's a delayed steal.
Yes, he was.
We've seen it before.
So penalized for being a throwback player.
2-0 to Garrett. And he lines one to right. That's going to get down. Kendall scores. Keep an eye on Escobar. He's around third. He'll stop there. Garrett slides into second with a double. An RBI double that puts the Brewers on top. 4-3 Milwaukee.
He's red hot. Jody Garrett feeling pretty good at the plate. Good for him. Boy, really struggled when he first came over here from San Diego, but the more at bats he gets, the better off he's been. That's a fastball that stayed in the middle part of the plate. Looked like Jaramillo wanted it away, missed with it, ripped it down the line. And the only reason that Escobar wasn't able to score is because Jones playing very deep in the outfield and right, and able to cut it off before it got in the corner. So a 2-out double for Jody Garrett to score a run.
So Garrett puts the Crew on top. 3 consecutive hits from the bottom of the order for the Brewers. Now back to the top and Felipe Lopez. Second and third, 2 outs. And that one gets away from Jaramillo. Escobar will score. 5-3, and Kevin Hart, the Pittsburgh pitcher, has to be wondering what in the world's going on with his defenders.
Yeah, the ground ball at third base, it was called a base hit. Ball that's got to be played, and an out that's got to be made, and that ball's got to be kept in front of you. It might go down as a pass ball, I'm not sure. He's got to slide over, but I don't think the ball was in the dirt by the time it got to Jaramillo. And another run on the board. So a team that prides itself on defense is not playing very well in the last couple of innings.
Vargas now the pitcher of record on the win side. Entered the game tied at 3. The Brewers have put 2 on the board and one high and tight to Lopez. Seen plenty of that from Kevin Hart tonight.
Yeah, he's not afraid to buzz the tower, is he? And just we were talking about, very unusual to string 3 hits together. What do they do with 2 outs and nobody on?
3 straight hits. And again, just to keep the scorebook tidy, Escobar scores on a wild pitch. But it's a play that
it'll go down as a wild pitch, sure. I mean, I acknowledge that, but that's a ball that's got to be played again, just like the ground ball to short.
I say if it hits your glove before it hits the dirt,
pass ball.
Pass ball.
I agree.
Except on some of those crazy fastballs that hit the bowl. You have any more red flags?
That doesn't bother me. I don't care about that. But the delayed steal, that's a bummer for Jason.
That's personal, that's why.
Yeah. You don't see those every day. You've seen 2 of them in 2 years, both by Kendall. And he gets one taken away.
Duly noted, though, Rob. It's well chronicled on Brewers television. His efforts tonight.
So I should stop then? Is that what you're saying?
Might not show up in the box score, but by golly, it has been addressed on Brewers TV.
Soapbox officially done.
Still 2 outs. 2 runs are in for the Crew. And the 2-2 to Lopez popped him up. McCutchen will make the call. And the inning is over, but the Brewers score twice and back on top. 5-3 Milwaukee. Wisconsin is presented by Triple Hop Brewed Miller Lite. Great taste, less filling. And by Toyota, proud sponsor of the Milwaukee Brewers and the Tundra Territory at Miller Park. Final game of the homestand tomorrow. The Brewers and the Pirates. 12:30 is airtime for Brewers Live. Craig Deshawn and Davey Nelson on the air. Fox Sports Wisconsin. Monday's an off day, and then we're back on Fox Sports Wisconsin Tuesday starts a 3-game series on the road in St. Louis, and it's just a 3-game road trip. The Brewers are right back here at Miller Park Friday. Miller Lite, what's on tap? David Weathers is on to pitch in relief of Claudio Vargas, who leaves as the pitcher of record on the win side if the Brewers bullpen can hang on. We head to the 7th as Weathers takes over, and he'll face Javier Vasquez pinch hitting for the Pirates.
Yeah, he was pitching in yesterday's ball game, and inning and 2/3, did a pretty good job. Hit a batter, did not allow a base hit. So back-to-back days for Weathers.
Vasquez batting .247, pinch hitting for Kevin Hart. Hart goes 6 innings, 6 hits allowed, 5 runs, 4 earned, and on the hook for the loss here tonight. Weathers a strike throwing machine. This is down and in. Rarely hurts himself with the walk. Weathers primarily as a Red, a 1-inning pitcher. Matter of fact, the first time he went 2 innings all year was as a member of the Brewers this year.
As you mentioned, inning and 2/3 yesterday, and did a nice job. Back at it again today. I don't think the Brewer bullpen anticipating being worked in the 6th. Ordinarily, Yo able to pitch a little bit deeper in the ball game, but here's Weathers once again.
And he gets a strikeout right on the outside corner. And Vasquez barking at Tony Randazzo a little bit on his way back to the dugout.
Yeah, Randazzo's been calling a lot of strikes tonight. You got to like his strike zone, and pinch hitter rung up. Might have given him a couple inches off the outside corner. Vasquez didn't like it too much.
Back to the top of the order now, Andrew McCutchen. McCutchen extended his hitting streak to 11 games with a double in the first. Pirates welcome their only lefty in the bullpen today, Phil Dumontre. They've been pitching without a left-hander in their bullpen for a couple of weeks now. Ever since the trade that sent John Grabo out. Escobar's got it. And a low throw dug out by Prince. 2 up, 2 down for Weathers. I want to remind you that on Saturday, September 5th, fans are asked to donate $40 in exchange for a brown bag, which will contain an autographed baseball by a Brewers player or coach. Brewers wives will be stationed at tables throughout the ballpark selling the brown bags to benefit the Hunger Task Force. Founded in 1974 by a group of concerned parents worried about children going to school hungry, the Hunger Task Force is a private nonprofit community organization that exists to prevent and alleviate hunger. It's a great cause. Dave Bush has been a big part of the Hunger Task Force charity all season, and now the Brewers wives getting involved. Hope you'll participate.
Yeah, Brewers wives been busy with the charitable activities this year. Good to see everybody getting involved.
Going Young with 2 outs. Young doubled in a run his last time up. He's 1 for 3, a couple of strikeouts on his line. And a little flare, foul, that'll fall. And a ball and 2 strikes. By the way, Rock, good news.
Yeah.
Jason Kendall has now been credited with a stolen base.
As well he should be. You know, had I not been making a big deal about that, that would have just been water under the bridge.
I feel very patriotic right now.
And hats off to our wonderful official score for realizing the error of his ways.
Wait a minute, you're saying you think you influenced the official score?
No, I'm not saying that.
You just did say that.
No, I didn't mean that. You know I don't have any influence at all about what goes on.
I know. There's Tim O'Driscoll. Young pops it up. Fielder makes a catch. A 3-up, 3-down inning. All is right in the world. Kendall has a stolen base.
Speaking of bottom, the bottom three in the order really producing for Milwaukee, David. They've been on base 7 times and have produced 3 runs.
Right, and that's what it's all about, is when you can get, you know, the run production from the top to the bottom, but more importantly, when that bottom of the order can get on base and score runs, it really turns it back over to the top of the order.
And at the very bottom, Jody Garrett with the pinch hit, RBI double in the 6th inning. You don't even see in the current box score right there, so it exemplifies how important that role is.
Well, that's right, and Jody has really been playing well as of late, getting a little more playing time. It seemed like his timing's coming along, and, you know, and I said this, he, you know, in 03, he was close to Rookie of the Year, you know, hit 22 home runs, 75 RBIs. For Cleveland, and you know, he's getting to play more, so he's showing some of those signs.
All right, pop-up priority is our on-field instructional after the ball game. We're going to grab some fantasy campers to help Bill and Davey along the way. Brian and Bill.
All right, Craig, Davey, thanks a lot. Jody Garrett with his 6th RBI as a pinch hitter for the Brewers. Put him on top. New pitcher for the Pirates, left-hander Phil Dumatre, making his 4th appearance of the year. So Kevin Hart goes 6 innings, gives up 5 runs, 4 earned, and Dumatre takes over. He'll have Counsell, Braun, and Fielder. A couple of lefties in his first 3 batters. Craig Counsell at the plate, presented by Wendy's. 2 hits tonight, 2 for 3. John Russell has to feel like it's quite a luxury to finally be able to call on a left-hander in his bullpen.
Yeah, it's been a while for him since the trading deadline that the Pirates really haven't been able to come up with too many lefties, even in the starting rotation. You remember back, you know, even last year, the Pirates loaded with left-handed starters. Gorzelani, Mahalam, Zach Duke. You know, 3 down in the bullpen. And the only lefty remaining is Zach Duke, yesterday's starter.
Now Dumatre just coming off the disabled list, had shoulder surgery last August, right about this time last year, and managed to work his way back. Activated on the 21st, his 4th appearance here tonight. Most recently, he gave up a 3-run homer to Ryan Howard in the 10th inning on Wednesday. So while Dumatre is back and a lefty asset for Russell, he's certainly in the early stages of his comeback. He's just now getting back into game action. He did pitch down in the minor leagues. Number of rehab appearances down there. Seven rehab appearances at 4 levels, but Counsell greets him rudely. He breaks his bat but sends one down the line. Counsell thinking about third, and he's on his way. The throw is cut off, and Counsell has another triple. A lead-off triple for Craig Counsell, his 8th of the season.
Well, a lot of them because right fielders don't feel as though Counsell's going to pull the baseball, particularly against a left-handed pitcher. Count's able to get one in on him. He spins on it, rips it down the line, and Jones has a long way to go. Had a little bit of a problem with it down in the corner, that pad under there. And Counsell never slowing down around second base, in easily at third.
Triple number 8 for Craig Counsell. He is 5th in the league in that category. Michael Bourne and Shane Victorino lead the league with 11. So Counsell at third, nobody out. Here's Braun. And Braun sends one a mile high. Should be deep enough. Millage has a good arm, but he's way back there. He won't even bother with a throw. Counsell scores. 6-3. Brewers as Braun drives in, number 95 of the season.
Well, didn't mess around. Ryan Braun has been good against lefties all year, hitting over 400. First pitch, and hits it deep enough to score. Counsell leading off of that triple.
Good situational hitting for the Brewers. 6-3 Milwaukee, and Fielder comes up with the bases empty.
And most of the damage done tonight by the Brewers. Bottom of the order, Kendall Escobar and Jody Garrett, the pinch hitter in the 9th spot, and Craig Counsell. Nice to see the Brewers able to put some runs on the board without relying too heavily on Braun and Fielder.
Jody Garrett had the big hit, a pinch hit RBI double to put the Brewers on top. Pirates broke down defensively a little bit in the 6th inning. Fielder muscles one into short left. Millage will make the catch for out number 2. Well, Prince has homered in 3 consecutive games leading up to this one tonight. Last night he hit a moonshot into the Tundra territory. Powerball home run number 36 for Fielder. And on a night when Braun and Fielder have been held hitless, the Brewers have a 6-3 lead on the Pirates. But Braun and Fielder with RBIs in this game.
And that's music to Dale Swaim's ears. Can't rely on the 2 big boys every night.
What's impressive is how many runs tonight have come without the benefit of a hit for the Brewers. Manufactured a bunch. Lopez drove in a run on a fielder's choice. Fielder an RBI on a bases loaded walk. There was a run that scored on a double play. And now a sacrifice fly and a wild pitch. The only hit that drove in a run was Jody Garrett's double that put the Brewers on top. The other 5 runs have come in various other ways.
And that's what's great about this game. Various other ways as opposed to home runs.
Leading to the question, how many ways can you score a run? The Brewers are checking off the list pretty quickly here tonight.
Jason Kendall's been on second base a couple of different ways tonight, including that tremendous delayed steal. Who I was told is credited for that delayed steal by great efforts by Mike Basallo.
Oh, he's taking credit for that.
Yes, he is. He's taking credit. We were talking about, how I was making a big deal about it. He texted me, said it wasn't you. It was me.
I like it.
Which I believe. I believe that it was all him.
Cameron down on strikes. And the inning is over. Brewers tack one on. It's 6-3 Milwaukee as we head to the 8th. And your camp coordinator, Bill Schroeder, January 31st to February 7th in beautiful Phoenix, Arizona at the Maryvale Baseball Complex, spring training home of the Brewers. A lot of legends will be there, guys like Norman Thomas. Just log on to brewers.com/fantasycamp, or you can call 262-679-3612. And one of the side perks of being a fantasy camper, sometimes the best of the fantasy campers end up on television. Like tonight, you're going to have some campers on for the instructional, correct?
And best does not necessarily mean the most talented.
Well, there's a lot of ways to define best.
A lot of ways to get out there and help us with our on-field instructionals. We got a couple of them tonight. Todd Carvey, not a fantasy camper, but you can see the patented sprint in from the bullpen. And he will work the 8th.
David Weathers, a scoreless 7th inning. Coffey trying to set it up for Trevor Hoffman, perhaps. Right now, it is still a save situation. 6-3 Brewers. As we head to the 8th, getting a lot of questions about. We talked about how many possible ways you can score a run, or how you can get to the plate from third base. I think it's 15. I think
15.
I think there's 15 ways to score a run.
Well, I know there's 5 ways that you can score from third base with 2 outs that you cannot score from second base with 2 outs. Pass ball, wild pitch, infield hit, a balk, and an error. In the infield.
Gotcha. If you put hits into, I'm separating the hits.
Okay.
You know, single, double, triple.
Oh, I get you.
But
okay.
You're right, though. You combine fielder's choices and hits.
All that stuff.
Put
right.
all those together. Because the Brewers tonight have scored 6 different ways, correct? There's been, well,
wild pitch.
5 of 6. There's been an RBI on a hit, been a wild pitch, fielder's choice,
sac fly.
Just scouring the scorebook here. Stuff like this fascinates me. Driving our audience at home crazy, I'm sure.
Scored on a walk, right? Did you get that one?
Yep, scored on a walk. Pass ball, stolen base, walk with the bases loaded, which fielder had. Don't forget catcher's obstruction. That hasn't happened tonight, but that's a possible way.
That's an error.
hit by pitch with a bases loaded.
That's in the umbrella of error.
Oh, I see. So you can kind of break them down.
Right.
But it's fun to think about, especially if you like keeping a scorebook at home. We had a test earlier this year. We were on the air, and it was one of those long rain delays, late night. I think we were in Cincinnati or Philadelphia. Can't remember the town, but we wondered how many people were keeping score. Matter of fact, it was in Florida. How many people were keeping score, keeping a scorebook in that particular moment? And I was shocked to get the response. It was something like 300 people at that moment were keeping a scorebook with our game. That's why we try to go back and clean up the scorebook, like telling you that Jason Kendall stole a base in the 6th inning. The art of keeping score. Everybody has their own way. Two and two to Mock. Jones, and he takes one down and in. Had a chance to visit with Todd Coffey earlier today on the rail. He's become quite the local legend here, quite the cult figure.
That's the way, the players know that they've made it. They've made it in Milwaukee when they get a rail interview.
Correct.
That is. It's huge.
Not hardly. Everybody's subject to a rail interview.
Right.
Coaches, players. If you happen to be standing by us when it's time to shoot that thing, you're in. You're on the rail. Sometimes we have to ambush players. They don't even know they're on.
That's right.
It's kind of like a Wild Kingdom kind of thing. Then we ask them later if we can use it. As Garrett Jones fouls one away. 3 balls, 2 strikes on Jones. You know you've made it in Milwaukee when you get a standing ovation when you enter from the bullpen, and they have a branded clock with your entrance like they do at Todd Coffey. Trevor Hoffman has Hell's Bells. Todd Coffey has the stopwatch on the big board.
About 13 seconds it takes him.
That one's pretty well hit to center field, but Cameron will run it down. And it's out number 1. Well, you hear from Todd Coffey on his experience in Milwaukee.
I love it here. I really do. And, I told a bunch of the guys last year when I first come in here, first come over, I felt home. And I really do. And it feels like a home to me. And, it's outstanding for me when I run in from the bullpen there and I get the crowd cheering. And the louder they get, the harder I run and the more, I get into it. Like I said, I'm never going to guarantee a victory every time I go out there, but I'm going to guarantee you got everything I got.
Well said. Todd Coffey, a fan favorite. And what a difference a year makes. It's one of the things we talked about today. Last year at this time, Coffey was wondering what was going to be left of his major league career. He had been sent down to AAA by the Reds. He was just days away from being released by Cincinnati. He actually got released on his birthday, which is September 9th. And I'm not sure what the next step was going to be. All of a sudden, the Brewers snatched him up off the waiver wire, and he came to Milwaukee in September and made an immediate impact.
9 scoreless appearances in the month of September, and certainly helped the Brewers get to the postseason.
And he's been terrific all season. Good old country boy from North Carolina.
I'm going to let her talk about Todd, in the hot stove leagues and all the talk shows around Milwaukee in the winter about how the bullpen's going to set up. You very rarely heard Todd Coffey's name, but he's turned into one of the more dependable relievers down there. He has been all year.
I thought it was impressive last year after he pitched the last 3 weeks of the season with the Brewers. And Rock told you about the 9 scoreless outings. He was not playoff eligible, but Doug Melvin gave him the opportunity to stay with the team. And he wanted to do it, even though he couldn't pitch in the postseason, which had to be very frustrating. He showed up, put the uniform on, went through the rally, went through the postseason experience. His grandfather passed away as soon as the postseason started last year, so then he returned home. But he was there for the workouts in the first couple of games of the NLDS a season ago, just because he wanted to be there and support his new teammates. Nice easy hop for Counsell. 2 outs. Coffey was cleaning out his garage when he got the call that the Brewers had picked him up. He was done for the season pitching. He'd already finished in the minor leagues. That minor league season was over. He had gone home ready to start his offseason. Next thing you know, he steps in front of 40,000 in a pennant race and pitched well.
And he's a blue-collar type guy. He gives you an honest effort, as he said on his interview, and he's not always going to be able to get the job done, but he will give you 100%. And that's all Milwaukee fans expect.
And as most players come to realize quickly how good it is to be a big league ball player in this town. Ball and a strike on Coffey, or on Pierce, I should say. Nice play over there.
Picking it.
Coffey worked a career high 3 innings earlier on this homestand. That was against Cincinnati on Tuesday. Took the loss in that game, giving up a couple of home runs. Never had worked 3 innings in his major league career until Tuesday, and you could tell he ran out of gas at the end. The Brewers were almost out of pitching.
Yeah, threw over 40 pitches.
This is a more normal scenario for Coffey. A late inning, 1 inning pitcher. Base hit. Steve Pearce punches one through the hole. Yeah, the Pirates with a man on with 2 outs on their 7th hit, and that'll send Lastings Milledge to the plate.
Yeah, 3-1 fastball. Don't want to walk anybody. Make him hit his way on, and that's what Pearce does. Pitch down in his zone, just able to find the hole in the left field. Pirates and Brewers each with 7 hits.
Chris Bosio on his way to the mound. Perhaps a quick scouting report on Lastings Milledge, or maybe just a breather for the big man. Milledge has 2 hits tonight. Both have been flares that have fallen. Milledge just kind of reached out and poked one to right in the 4th, and then he broke his bat on a single to left his last time up.
Pitches away. As we talked about when this game started, you got to bust this guy in with a fastball. Got a slider speed bat. You're doing him a favor, pitching him away, particularly up in the strike zone.
7 hits for the Pirates. Milledge with 2 of them. Tying run still in the on deck circle as Coffey tries to weave his way through the 8th. In the bottom of this inning, the Brewers will have Catalanado, Kendall, and Escobar. Four hits in the series for Milledge. All singles. He's been on base 5 times, only been retired twice. There's a fastball for a strike. Escobar cuts it off, steps on the bag. Athletic move from Escobar to get the final out of the inning. Scooped it up, stepped on the bag, all in one motion. And the side retired. Coffey works a scoreless 8th inning. Three hits, including a triple that led to a run. Kendall has a couple of hits, including a double. He scored twice. Andy LaRoche belted a 2-run home run in the 5th inning that put the Pirates on top briefly. Brewers came right back and tied it in the bottom of the 5th. Updating the numbers from our U.S. Cellular text to vote question we're running this week. Should Pete Rose be reinstated into baseball? And 69% of you say yes. We'll wrap it up tomorrow. Send your answer to 234-234. That's the text number courtesy of U.S. Cellular. Catalanato at the plate. Bottom of the order coming up for the Brewers, and they have done a lot of damage in this game tonight as Steven Jackson takes over on the mound for Pittsburgh. The last 3 spots in the Brewers batting order, 7, 8, and 9, on base 7 times tonight.
Yeah, you love to see that. Numbers for Jackson, not too bad. A 3.54 ERA. Big kid, throws hard, has a good split-fingered fastball that he actually learned from an old teammate of mine, Brian Harvey. Remember Harvey? Boy, that guy can bring it.
Had a good Fu Manchu.
Yes, he did.
Clemson guy.
And Brian Harvey's son went to Clemson, along with Steven Jackson.
Base hit. Calanato's going to send one to the wall. Catalanato on his horse around second, on his way to third. And how about another leadoff triple for the Crew? Second triple of the year for Catalanato. Council started the 7th with a triple, and now the cap man comes up with one in the 8th.
Well, that ball just scooted right by McCutchen, who had him shaded around toward left center just a little bit to the left field side of the bag at second. A bullet down in the strike zone, and you can see how far McCutchen has to go for it. Gets by him. Once it gets to the wall, you knew that Catalanato had a shot for a triple. Center fielder not even in the shot until the last second. He had a long way to go.
And now Kendall is up there with the infield halfway in. You don't see many line drives that the pitcher makes a play on a 10th at, and it ends up to the wall.
Unless it's AstroTurf. But yeah, that's how far into left field McCutchen was playing. Had no chance to get there. Couldn't cut it off.
Kendall A chance to put the Brewers up 4. And a bouncer to third. Good play over there. Almost an out as LaRoche gets Kendall at first base. Well, Catalanotto was almost cut down.
Yeah, if he didn't go right back right away, he would have been an out. LaRoche might have been able to turn a double play on that ball. Catalanotto with a lead right away. Takes a half step and then gets right back to the bag at third. And LaRoche makes the tag anyway, and good base running by Catalanotto. With the infield in, they had the play on where it had to go through. On contact, it would have been an easy out.
So Escobar will bat with Catalanotto at third base. 1 away. 6-3 Brewers. Looking for back-to-back wins after being swept by the Reds to start this homestand. A win tonight gives them an opportunity to get it all back. There's a bouncer and a base hit. Escobar right through the middle. And an RBI for Alcides Escobar, his third in the last 2 games, and it's 7-3 Brewers.
Now you love the approach, don't you? I mean, just trying to get the ball on the ground, hit it hard, not trying to hit the ball out of the ballpark. A good approach. How about the bottom of the order? My goodness, they've been productive. A fastball up in the zone, and Escobar hits it hard on the ground with the infield drawn in. Easy base hit and an RBI for Escobar, our Jimmy John delivery of the game. Bottom of the order has been solid tonight.
Most of the damage done at the bottom. Catalanotto started with a triple. Escobar drives him in, and that puts Trevor Hoffman back on the bench. Not a safe situation any longer. Casey McGee pinch hitting for Coffey. Villanueva will have the 9th instead.
And 6 of the 9 hits for the Brewers tonight have come from the 6 through 9 hitters. Gotta love it.
A pitch out. Escobar not running. McGee pinch hitting. He's 5 for 20 in that role this year. Has 1 homer and 5 driven in. 5 of his 39 runs batted in. Escobar takes off. McGee fouls it away. The Brewers are anxious to see what Casey McGee can do when healthy, because he's doing a lot with a banged up knee. Nothing career threatening, but enough tendonitis that requires a day off every 3rd day or so. McGee would love to play every day. He's just that kind of player. But
well, the Brewers are going to have to wait till next year for that. He's not going to be willing to take any time off. No way.
Ken Maka telling us that McGee will require surgery in the offseason on his knee. He shoots 1 foul. But when Casey was asked about it, he goes, "That's news to me."
Always the last to know.
Always the last to know, right? No, he's a winning ball player, that's for sure. McGee's the kind of guy you want on your team. Plays the right way, plays hard, and he's made the most of every opportunity. He sat and sat for the first 6 weeks of the season and barely got any playing time at all. Just an occasional pinch hit.
Kept himself ready, though. That's a hard thing to do for a young player.
And as soon as he got his chance, he took off. Escobar takes off. Nice play over there by LaRoche. And McGee is retired. So Escobar in second. 2 outs in the inning. And back to the top, and Felipe Lopez.
Hit it hard. A nice backhand play. If you saw our on-field instruction a couple of days ago, Jim Gantner was talking about that backhand play. He says you want to try and catch a backhand play in the web. That's great information, because you get it in the palm of the glove, it just fall out. And LaRoche does it to perfection. I always find I learn something from those guys in those instructionals. Whether it be Augie talking about pitching or Gantner about infield. I learned something yesterday from Gary Vandenberg, groundskeeper.
What was that, Rock?
The batter's boxes are completely all clay. They're all clay. They stay hard. The area where the catchers are and where the balls bounce, balls in the dirt, much softer. Different dirt altogether.
Interesting.
I thought it was all just one big pile of dirt. All the same, not the case. It's well manicured.
Ooh, took a bad hop. But Pierce has it for the out. Inning over. A run is in. The Brewers lead 7-3. Last call for the Pirates. Well, the Brewers getting good work from their bullpen once again tonight. Vargas, Weathers, and Coffey, 3 scoreless innings, and only 2 hits allowed. And the Brewers tacking some runs on. They got a run on the 7th, added one in the 8th, and a 7-3 lead. And instead of Trevor Hoffman in a save situation, Ken Macha sends up Carlos Villanueva with the 4-run lead. 51st appearance of the year for Villanueva. Split time between the bullpen and the starting rotation this year.
Well, if a couple of men get on, it's going to be a save opportunity, and Trevor will be in the ball game. He's about ready to go. Still throwing lightly out there in the Brewer bullpen. Ken Macha had to use Hoffman a couple of occasions against Cincinnati in a non-save situation, both times in a tie game.
Trevor with 3 appearances on his homestand in the first 5 days. And Ken Macha would love to sit Trevor, which would give him the option tomorrow. And of course, you got a day off on Monday. Good changeup from Villanueva, and Jaramillo down to the count, a ball and 2 strikes. Jason Jaramillo, he's 0 for 2 with a walk. Claudio Vargas is in line for the win. Kevin Hart on the hook for the loss. Pittsburgh starter.
Hart threw the ball pretty well tonight. He really did.
He's Defense let him down in the 6th inning. Misplay from the shortstop position. Didn't go as an error. And then there was a wild pitch that, there's a hot one. Boy, Lopez right there for it. And Jaramillo retired. That took no time to get to Felipe Lopez. 1 up, 1 down for Villanueva.
Another backhand play by Lopez. Didn't have to move, maybe 1 step. And able to handle it. Always important to get that leadoff hitter out, regardless of what the score is.
Villanueva will face Ronnie Cedeno. Pinch hitting for Bixler. And a strike from Villanueva. Tomorrow it's Jeff Suppan against Ross Ohlendorf. Suppan 5-8, a 5.38 ERA. Ohlendorf 11-8 with a 4.10 ERA. Ohlendorf and Zach Duke have been at the top of the Pittsburgh rotation all season. And Ohlendorf has dominated the Brewers this year. He's 2-0 and an ERA at 2 1/4.
Yeah, he's been good.
Ohlendorf's only given up 3 earned runs in 12+ innings. Suppan will be on the mound for Jeff Suppan bobblehead day tomorrow.
Suppan giving up 4 runs in just shy of 5 full innings. His first time back after being on the disabled list for about a month.
Suppan, a former Pirate, he likes to keep the chart prior to his day to pitch. It's pretty much a standard in the minor leagues. The rotation, the starting rotation, each guy has an individual job. And one guy keeps the chart, the other guy keeps the gun. And Cedeno sends one deep to left, and that one's going to be off the wall. Cedeno on his way to second, and he's in there with a double.
Well, one more base runner. It's going to be a save opportunity for Trevor. And you know that Ken Maka would prefer not to have to use him. Still tossing lightly down in the bullpen. Ronnie Cedeno has shown to be a pretty good pull hitter, at least against Milwaukee. We saw that in Pittsburgh. And now here in this pinch hitting opportunity. Hit that one hard off the wall.
Knocked one off his face out there, the picture. So a double for Cedeno. With a broken pinky finger, he doubles off the wall. And here is Brandon Moss. Seven to 3, Brewers lead it. Lopez for out number 2. Cedeno advances to third. Let the Pirates down to their last out as we go back to the top of the order to Andrew McCutchen. Sellout crowd tonight, 41,773. 27th sellout of the year, and they have been entertained. Good ball game, back and forth early. The Brewers jumped out on top. The Pirates had the lead in the 5th. Milwaukee came right back. And the Brewers have scored runs in each of the last 4 innings. Tacking on at its finest. And a 7-3 lead as the Pirates are down to their last out. Homestand wraps up tomorrow and another big crowd expected.
That hurt.
Put your arms down, doofus. That was funny. It's 2-1. 2-2 to count. Now they're on their feet. Villanueva trying to wrap it up. Good block by Kendall. And the count is 3-2. Trevor Hoffman still throwing in the bullpen. Just in case. Villanueva wants to end it right here. McCutchen, a 3-2 count. A little flare foul. Chase ball 4. Unable to punch it foul.
Covering a lot of that outside part of the plate, didn't he? Check this one out. About 6 inches off the outside corner, able to get a bat on it.
Struck him out. McCutchen chases. The ball game is over. The Brewers beat the Pirates 7-3. Back-to-back wins for the Crew. To 63 and 66 they go, pursuing 500.